Chapter 7 World Record for the Best Friday Ever after the worst Wednesday and Thursday. Friday means two things. The first is that it's the last day before I can take 2 days off school. I like to think of it as an altercation suspension. Plus, the weekend was when me and Ma actually did stuff and not just watch movies and avoid homework because she didn't work on weekends and took early morning online nursing classes to get them out of the way. When she was done, we would clean the house. I was in charge of the living room. Ma would give me her version of a haircut. She always got most of it even. Then give herself one. And then we would go over to my Aunt Sophie's house. Aunt Sophie is my mom's younger sister, and she's like the coolest lady ever. She's got a tattoo on her arm that says Sweetie Pie, and I never asked about it, but always stared at it just because I can't wait to get one. But mine ain't gonna say nothing like that. Mine's gonna say World's Greatest, or, of course, Ghost. Anyway, on the weekends, Aunt Sophie and my mom sit around and play cards and crack jokes and eat corn chips and cheese dip and drink beer, and sometimes they let me and King, Aunt Sophie's son, sit with them and play. Yes, we can play. Me and King learned how to play spades and tonk when we were real young. It's a thing in our family, a serious thing. And yes, his real name is King. I think the sisters just wanted to give us royal names. So yeah, all I had to do was get through Friday without any problems, and I was good to go for the weekend. The other thing about Friday, which I didn't know until Thursday, is that Coach gives everybody the day off, no practice. And then, of course, since this was the first Friday of the season, Coach was taking the newbies out for dinner. After 2 half days of school, which technically equals 1 full day, I'm happy to say that school went pretty smoothly on Friday. Brandon Simmons was back, and even though I had on my regular dusty butt shoes, the fancy ones were for track only. Brandon didn't have too much to say to me. I saw him just before first period, and he walked right past me and Dre. I saw some of the other kids snickering at him as he passed, but I told them all to chill. I don't know why, because he totally deserved to be roasted, but I guess I kind of felt bad for the dude. I've been there. I can't believe you're giving this clown a pass, Dre said. It was almost like he had a year's worth of laughs stored up, waiting to unload them on Brandon. Everybody did, but I just couldn't let it happen. Funny thing was, when I saw Shamika in Mr. Hollow's class, she apologized to me about everything that went on in the class the day before, and that, my friends, is what they call karma. Plus, like I said, she was a cool girl anyways. At lunch, she even sat with me, Red, and Dre and told us every story about times she cut things, just because she was feeling a little guilty. There was one time I cut my hair. Man, that was crazy. Just straight up started hacking it off like a maniac, just because it was hot and my hair was on my neck, she said first, just before taking a bite of her burger. Then, in the midst of chewing, she continued. And another time I cut a pair of jeans into shorts while I still had them on. That was not smart. Still got the scars on my legs. And then she erupted into laughter, just like she did in class. But this time, she was the butt of her own joke. And even though me, Dre, and Red didn't really find it that funny, we couldn't help but laugh too, because, well, that's what her laugh makes you do. Before I knew it, school was over and I went on my usual walk home. I mean, Coach wasn't coming until later, so I figured there was no rush. So I went to Mr. Charles' store. Let me guess, sunflower seeds? Mr. Charles said. He turned the little TV down as usual. Let me guess, $1? I said, slapping my money on the counter. I grabbed the bag. You okay, son? Mr. Charles asked. Yeah, why? Oh, you know, all that stuff that happened yesterday with you being teased, and then you came here and got... And he stopped short. I started feeling a little annoyed that he even brought it up because I was definitely trying to forget all about it, especially that last part, the stockroom part. Talk about weird. Not that I hadn't thought about it. I mean, how could I not? But every time my father's face, or the sound of his angry voice, or the sound of the gun cocking popped into my mind, I would just shake it out of my head by thinking about my bullets. The silver bullets. But you just can't be mad at an old James Brown face man like Mr. Charles. You just can't. Yeah, man, I assured him. I'm cool. I'm actually in a good mood. Oh, yeah? He asked. I used my teeth to rip open the corner of the bag. Yep, got a dinner thing I'm going to tonight for my track team, I said, all proud. Track team? Mr. Charles asked, now turning the TV down even more. You're on a track team, Castle? Yes, sir, I started to say, but it's hard to try and talk and get a seed out of the shell at the same time. So I waited until I got it done. Then I continued. Remember I told you yesterday? You did? Mr. Charles looked puzzled. The old brain's getting wonky these days. Sorry, son. It's cool. I tapped the bag on my palm to get a few more seeds out. So, yeah, I'm on a team called the Defenders, one of the best teams in the city. I didn't know you were an athlete. Mr. Charles seemed impressed. Well, I am. A pretty good one, too, I bragged, tossing the seeds in my mouth, then casually slapping my hand against my thigh to brush the salt off. A shock of soreness shot down my knee, a painful reminder that I was definitely an athlete. Oof. Mr. Charles twisted the top off a cranberry juice and took a sip. I believe you. I told you, kid, you're one of the world's greatest. Got that right, I said, now spitting shells in my hand. One of the world's greatest. And I left the store. I headed to stop 2, the bus stop. I took a seat next to an older woman. She was doing a crossword puzzle and humming a song that I didn't recognize. She might have been making it up. It didn't sound bad, though. Across the street at the gym were all the people working out. The Walking Dead. Ha! That's what they look like anyway. Anyway, I hung out here for a little while before moving on. When I got to the Martin Luther King Park, I looked down at the track. There was nobody there except for a man jogging with his dog, but nobody else. No real runners. After that, there was really no place to go but home, and I wasn't ready to go there yet, so I went to the basketball court. At the court, as usual, all the older guys were there running fives for cash. I knew some of them just because they were always there playing, like Pop, who was probably in his 20s or something like that. I don't even think he was anybody's dad, but everybody just called him Pop anyways. He was a short dude with crazy handles and a mean jumper. He was one of those guys who could do all the tricks and stuff, shake you right out, your socks like it was nothing. And Sicko was there too. But luckily for me, he didn't have his crazy dog with him. Sicko wasn't really that good at basketball, but he was super rough. He probably should have been a football player or a wrestler. Big James was there too. He was like the best player ever to me. He looked like he really played pro ball, 6 feet something, all muscle. People always said Big James played college ball, but never went pro. I never knew he did what he did for a living. All I knew he was there always at the court, dominating the game, taking everybody's money. So I guess basketball was what he did for a living after all. Besides the Hoopers, there were a whole bunch of other people at the court, just hanging out. Girls. Some of them were girlfriends of the guys playing, and others just wanted to be girlfriends of the guys playing. And junkies. They'd just be zombied out, roaming around the outside of the court. They knew better than to mess up the game. They'd just walk along the out-of-bounds line like it was a tightrope waiting for a goose. Goose was the dope man, who also happened to be a pretty good ball player. Super flashy, but an all-around nice guy. Well, except for the selling drugs part. The court was where he served, in more ways than one. I chilled there for a while, watching Sicko push everyone around until what always happens happened. A fight. As usual, stupid Sicko pushed the wrong guy, a guy I didn't know, and the guy pushed Sicko back. And then Pop got into it, then Big James's girl, then some other girl, and then a junkie started howling like a wolf, so I was out of there. By the time I made it home, I only had a little bit of time to kill before Coach picked me up. Just enough time to wash up, or as my mom says, splash some hot water on my hot spots, throw some clean clothes, and give myself 2 spritzes of perfume. It was Ma's and it smelled like flowers, but hey, so what? When Coach showed up, he hit the horn a few times, and when I didn't come right out, he hit it a few more times. I'm coming, I said, locking the door. Coach had his window down and was talking to Mr. Jefferson, the neighborhood sweeper. At least that's what we called him. He basically swept up the streets every single day, but it didn't seem to ever really get clean. There was always glass or paper, or I don't know, like a dirty couch. What's up, y'all? I said to Patty, who sat up front, and Lou, who's in the back with me. I wondered where Coach put all the junk that was usually in his cab. Probably in the trunk, which was a place I never, ever wanted to see. What's up, man? Lou said. I've been around here before, Patty said, skipping the hello. I can't remember when, but I know I've been around here. Me too, Lou said. Not really these parts, but my pops plays ball sometimes at the court down the street. Oh yeah? I play at that court, I lied. Man, I was getting smooth with these lies. Just came from over there, actually. Coach shook Mr. Jefferson's hand, then turned around to me. Took you long enough, he tossed over his shoulder. Then he sniffed and sniffed and sniffed. That you smelling like flowers? Coach asked Patty. Nope, that's Pretty Boy back there, she said. Who, Lou? Coach adjusted the mirror. No, the other one, Patty said, talking about me. I couldn't believe she just called me Pretty Boy. I squeezed my cheeks to crush my smile, and before Coach or Lou could say something slick, Patty added, I like it. Smells good. One more stop before the Chinese food. We left Glass Manor and went to the other side of town, like the other side, where the houses have yards in the front and the back, where there are 2 or 3 floors and each kid has their own room. Even if there are like 5 kids, each one gets their own 4 walls, and everybody has a car, or 2. There are driveways to park those cars in, and there's also basketball courts in those driveways, the kind you can move around and adjust to make it low enough to dunk on. No wig shops, no fish markets, no Mr. Charles, which had to suck. We pulled up in front of Sonny's house, a big brick castle with an old rusty car in the driveway. I wondered why Sonny didn't act like the other people I'd met who lived in this neighborhood. He was cool, a little weird, but cool. Coach hit the horn. Sonny came right out, tall and awkward. He waved to us, that funny wave he always did. Yo, Patty, you should get back there so Sonny can actually get his legs in the car, Lou suggested. I agreed. It didn't make sense for Sonny to be cramped up in the back with us. Plus, Sonny had already opened the back door on my side. I just wasn't into sitting in the middle. Yeah, Patty, I said. That makes the most sense. I don't care what y'all do. Just do it quick so we can go, Coach barked. Patty turned around and looked us up and down. Ain't nobody sitting back there with y'all goons. I might get goon juice on me, and don't nobody want goon juice on them. What if I can't get it off me? Then what? Patty, Lou yelped. Patty turned back around, ignoring him. Patty, come on, I begged. Seriously? Lou whined. At this point, Sonny had already started stepping in, forcing me to scoot over in the middle. The middle sucks. It's where babies sit, and I ain't no baby. Sonny crunched and scrunched his body until he got it all in there. It reminded me of this dude Yogi Laser I read about, who holds the record for having the fastest time to cram into a box. Crazy. Sonny's knees were smashed against Patty's seat, and he had no place to put his arm, so he put it around me. It was just all kinds of ridiculous. Once Sonny closed the door, which took 3 tries, Patty and Coach turned around to look at us. Aw, look at y'all, bonding like brothers, Coach jabbed. Or like clowns, Patty followed with a hook. Just drive, please, I groaned, seeing Sonny smiling away like nothing was wrong out of the corner of my eye.